Okay, I'm gonna try not to make a lot of noise. I'm sitting in my car. If I move around, you'll pick up all the sounds. But hello, everyone. It's been about 4 weeks since I posted my last video, and I know for those who follow my channel probably was wondering what was going on. But I'm here today to tell you what's been going on. And yes, my title kind of says it all, but I'm going to go back to the top and kind of explain everything that went on that led me up to this point. But anyway, I had been feeling really, really tired and sluggish and not a lot of energy. And even when I made some of my last videos, I was feeling this way, but I was pushing through in order to complete my videos and put them up on my channel. But it got to a point where I had developed mass on the lower left pelvic and the growing area. And it's like one day it wasn't there, and the next day it was there. And I'm like, what is this? And then it began to hurt a lot. So I started using ibuprofen to take care of the pain. But you know, by trade, I'm an artist. I'm an artist by trade. And so my life, I did a lot of pursuing my artistic endeavors. So whenever I was employed, it was only to take care of my basic human needs so I can continue to pursue my interest as an artist. So the last job I had, I retired from that job at 60 years old. And at that point, collecting Social Security, I wanted to be able to pursue my artistic endeavors. So giving up that job also gave up my insurance, because the Social Security is not really a lot to live on. So I did not want to go and create another bill. I know it's crazy now, but the only reason why I didn't go to the doctor sooner is because of that, not wanting to create a medical bill. But anyway, when it got to a point where I couldn't take living like that on a daily basis, I finally decided to go to the emergency room of one of the local hospitals here. And my mother went with me, and when they did a series of tests on me, and ultimately the doctor came to the area where I was sitting and waiting and said to me, my mother, he explained that he had some news and he was going to just be frank. And he said, it looks like you may have cancer. And the initial shock was cancer, for like 2 seconds. And then I decided that, well, it's time to go to work. I did not want to fall into that trap of, oh, woe is me, I have cancer, I may die, and all that stuff that just leads you down a really, really dark rabbit hole. And I knew my mindset. I knew what it took to stay strong, stay focused, be uplifted. I have a strong faith. I believe in God. And I know your mental has a lot to do with everything. So the doctor pretty much told me, he gave me a referral to one of the best gynecologists and oncologists here in Savannah. And he said, look, you can wait days, you can even wait weeks, but you cannot wait months. Call her, make an appointment, let's get this going. So from the ER doctor straight to the gynecologist, he sent my stuff over to her. And she, we set up, this was on a Wednesday. This was August the 13th. I forgot to say that. August the 13th when I went to the emergency room. So he sent my stuff to her. I called her. She could get me in on that following Monday. So that August the 13th was on a Wednesday. And Monday I had the appointment with her. And when I tell you, this woman has amazing bedside manner. I felt her vibe, her spirit from the beginning. I can tell she was genuinely concerned. She introduced herself, and she wanted me to tell her everything. She sat her chair directly in front of me and just asked 1,000 questions. Gave me a lot of information. I felt comfortable in what how she was handling it. And so she said to me, we're going to set up a biopsy to make sure, because the doctor in the ER said, I can't diagnose you with having cancer, because not from an ultrasound, and not from, because it did a vaginal ultrasound. So not from an ultrasound and not from a CAT scan. So they have to do a biopsy. And so she scheduled a biopsy for that Wednesday. And she also included another doctor who is a colorectal specialist. And so I ended up meeting with him on that Tuesday. So she did perform, a physical, pap smear to make sure, to see how it looked inside. But it was, she said it looks good. She didn't see where the cancer could be, so we'll just do, once we get the biopsy, we'll go from there. And then so the appointment with the colorectal specialist was the next day. And he also examined me, and he wanted to do like a colonoscopy, but that didn't get scheduled till the following Monday. But when I went to go get the biopsy on Wednesday, what they did was deaden the area. They injected some type of solution that deadened the area, and then they were able to withdraw from that area. And I tell you, that whatever they injected in that area, it turned that particular area hard, which was unusual for me. But then again, I've never had a biopsy before, so I didn't know what to expect. But so that was done on that Wednesday. On that Friday, I had a family reunion down in Florida, so I missed the call from my from the doctor, the gynecologist, to give me the results for the biopsy. And I listened to her voicemail later that day, and she said, well, I'll call you back on Monday and we can talk about it. And so when I found out, that Monday, that it actually was cancerous, then the next step was to talk about how to attack the cancer. So, and me, I'm still okay. I'm still, my mindset, I'm not freaking out. I'm not acting all scared and stuff. People are amazed at how calm I am with this, and I'm going to get to that and tell you why that is my mindset. So, that was Monday, I think. Yeah, when she called. But it's also the same day where I had the colonoscopy. I tell you, that was a weird thing. But anyway, before the colonoscopy, though, the doctors thought that there was a large mass on my left, the large intestine, and they could see the mass also on my ovaries. And so the plan was to cut out a certain area of my intestine, the area that had the mass, and then put the other two areas back together, so I wouldn't have to wear one of those bags. And then, well, in my mind, I thought it was just a surgery to take out the mass from the ovaries and from the intestine. But little did I know, it was more serious than I thought. So anyway, when I talked with the doctor on Monday, the gynecologist, she said, listen, I need you to know that this is really serious. And I want to tell you about your options. And so she gave me the options, but she told me we would need to do more than surgery. We also would have to do chemotherapy. And I was like, chemotherapy too? And I had some reservations about chemotherapy because of a family member who had cancer. And when she went through chemotherapy, 8 years later, she ended up getting cancer again. It came back as leukemia. And it was the chemotherapy that gave it to her. And so my hesitation for that was because of that. But she said, listen, I'm going to support whatever you want to do. I'm 100% behind you. But I have to tell you that if you're only wanting to do the surgery, then we may as well prepare you for hospice care. And I'm like, is that serious? She said, it is that serious. I said, well, then there's nothing to discuss. Then I'm going to have to do the chemotherapy, I thought differently, but I didn't know that it was that serious. So of course we're going to do the chemotherapy. So she said, I want to schedule a time when we can meet with my team, and we'll discuss everything we need to tell you about chemotherapy. So she said, I'm going to have my secretary call you tomorrow and set up the appointment. She called me early that morning. We set up the appointment for the very next morning. And when I tell you, God is awesome. When I tell you my team is awesome. When I tell you from the time that the ER doctor referred me to this woman, she went to work right off the bat. And when my first appointment with her on that Monday, when I went in her office, I got there early, and then I was filling out my paperwork. And before I fill out my paperwork, they called me. And the woman said, Sonia Walker. And I said, I'm not scheduled until 11:30. She said, it's okay. And I said, I'm still doing my paperwork. She said, it's okay. And I said, okay. And then when I went to the back with her, she said, hi, my name is Angel. I said, oh my God. Just finding out that I have cancer and God sent me an angel. That was the first sign for me that it was going to be okay. Her name was Angel, the nurse. And she weighed me, and I found out that I had lost 17 pounds and didn't even know it. But so anyway, I had gone back a few I forgot to tell you about the angel. So that was the first sign that I knew I was in a good place. And so I'm still going to fast forward back to when the team came in. So when I had that appointment with the doctor and her team, the first person I met on her team was the resource nurse. She came in, introduced herself, and she said, I'm your resource nurse. I'm going to find everything, all the resources that you need to help in your recovery. Even when it comes down to the finances for the bill, we have referral agencies. We have resources. I just found a new one where you can get this wig for, X amount of dollars. They will take care of you. I felt so at home. I took a cousin of mine with me also, and she's a really, really good support. But when I tell you, I got a humongous support system in my family and friends, and all the prayers and support that I have been receiving from family, friends, and everything. They are surprised that I'm handling it this way, but my faith is strong. And then so when I met this team that the doctor had, I'm blown away. I was blown away. So after the resource nurse introduced herself and told me about all the benefits of what she's going to do, and then here comes the nurse practitioner. She introduced herself, and she said, Miss Song, when I first found out about you, that was from the ER, when you were in the ER. She said, the ER doctor sent your stuff over to the gynecologist. You know, I didn't want to call the doctor's name. And then she called me up and she said, I'm going to need your help on this one. And she sent me the information, you know, your stuff. And I was like, wow, okay, I'm on board. And she just was so reassuring. She had all of this information that she had to educate me on about the chemotherapy, about how they were going to do the whole process. It's a lot, guys, and I don't want to go step by step with everything, because from the time August the 13th that they thought I had cancer up until now, today is I think the 28th or 29th, it's been a whirlwind of support from family, friends, and also my gynecologist and oncologist. This woman is like a superwoman. When that team of women just came walking in that hospital, the resource nurse, the nurse practitioner, the two ladies from this institute that wants to, forget what it's called. They are going to do research on my blood type. Not my blood type, but my cancer. It turns out that I have ovarian cancer, and it's aggressive cancer. Nurse practitioner, she reassured me that there was nothing that I could have done, that even if I had gone earlier, they wouldn't have found it. It's almost like pancreatic cancer, where they find it after it's already done its damage, or it's been there for a while. So right now I'm in between stage 3 and 4, and I was trying to, before I made this video, remember everything that I went through, everything that I was told step by step, but it's just kind of too much to just overload you all with. But ultimately I have ovarian cancer, between stage 3 and 4, and my chemotherapy will start on September the 8th. I go on September the 3rd to have the port put into my chest, so it'll be easier for them to, you know, give me the chemotherapy medication instead of having to stick me all the time. But here's the thing that I did not want to give up my channel. I did not want to stop making videos. I did not want to leave you guys, because I still have something to say. Now I have something to say, you know, even more about my cancer journey. Because in spite of the fact that I do have this, I have cancer. Cancer doesn't have me. Cancer doesn't have me. When I tell you my mindset is so strong, I'm not scared. I'm not afraid. And I know this is a serious, I had my cousin tell me, I need to let you know how serious this is. I said, I know how serious this is. I know that I could possibly die. And just because I'm not, you know, falling out, freaking out, or having a bad time accepting it, that doesn't mean I don't know how serious this is. This is very serious. I've already dropped 20 pounds without trying, in probably maybe a month's time. But I know my faith in God is strong, and I also know about the human mind. The human mind, when I tell you, I don't know the statistics. I think it says we use about 5 to 10% of our capabilities with our minds. When I tell you, we have a lot more power than we think we do. God gave us godlike powers. I mean, we're not as powerful as He is, but we have godlike powers. And people don't tap into those powers and use them to help heal themselves. You know, I meditate and pray 3 times a day. And when I'm meditating, I am concentrating on those energy centers. Now, some people may refer to them as chakras. I follow the teachings of Dr. Joe Dispenza, and he calls them energy centers. But the one in particular, it's the blessing of the energy centers, but the one in particular that I really put a lot of thought into is the second center, because that's where the cancer is located. But I believe in the power of our minds and how we can utilize those minds to help heal ourselves. And the doctors are going to be doing their part. My family and friends and my huge support system, they're doing their part to keep me prayed and lifted up. I have to do my part too. And my part is to pray and to meditate on this. I talk with God. I pray. I have to do my part, not sit back and wait for everybody to do for me. I need to do for myself. That's why I'm not fearing anything. That's why my faith is strong. That's why I know what I know. And anybody who is familiar with Dr. Joe Dispenza's work, read his stuff. My first book that I read of his is called Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. The second book is called You Are the Placebo. And the third one is Becoming Supernatural. Now, that's not what you think it is. That one is also about tapping into the powers that you have in your mind. And your thoughts is everything. Like in the Bible it says, as a man thinketh, so is he. If you think you're going to die, you probably are going to die. Your thoughts are powerful. Your thoughts mean everything. How you see things in the world, what you think about yourself, what you feel about yourself. It's a saying that I'm trying to remember. It's called, your thoughts are the language of the brain, and your feelings are the language of the body. So how you think and how you feel will create your personal reality. So when I'm thinking, I'm aware of my thoughts. And that's a hard thing to do, because the average person has about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. So it's hard to monitor what you're thinking about, because these are subconscious thoughts, so, but I'm aware of the energy that I put out there in the world, what I'm thinking about, how I talk to people, how I say things to people, what I say about myself, because you can internalize those thoughts. The body, when you have a lot of negative thoughts, negative feelings, even trauma or anything from your past, when we engage in negativity in our body, we know the body has the ability to release stress hormones. And those stress hormones can cause disease. Like when people stress, and they can develop an ulcer, they can have a heart attack, they can have a stroke. All of those things comes from your thoughts. Every time you have negative thoughts, the body can go into that fight or flight mood. And usually that can be a good thing, because it will strengthen your immune system. But when you do it too many times, over and over and over, you're releasing too many stress hormones in your body, and that will eventually make you sick. And just like your thoughts can make you sick, your thoughts can make you well. You just have to govern what you're thinking about and what you're putting out there. And just like those stress hormones can do damage, you have hormones that will do good, like oxytocin, what's the other feel-good hormone. Those hormones, feel-good hormones, help you feel better. But it's a lot that you have to know when you're trying to mentally work on yourself. So, it's going to be a long journey, but I'm prepared for it. I actually thank God for this wake-up call, because it's going to make me work on myself. It's going to make me be a better person. It's going to make me more and more of a person that wants to serve. It's going to make me go harder on my YouTube channel. It's going to make me be what I think God intended for me to be when I came to this planet. I sound like some Martian or space person. But anyway, we all have a journey. And this is my journey. This is a part of my journey. And I wanted to let you guys know what was going on with me. I'm not giving up my channel. I just had some things that I needed to deal with, and I wanted you all to be in on what was going on with me. I'm on my channel. I'm supposed to post 3 times a week, but now that I'm dealing with this, I don't want to overtax myself and try and continue that schedule. So I'm going to be posting once a week while I'm on this journey. And the one thing that they did tell me as I received these chemotherapy drugs, I'm going to lose my hair, I'm going to lose my lashes, my eyebrows, all body hairs is going to be gone. And I'm not worried about that. You know, I wear head wraps all the time, so I'm good with that. But I smiled at that last meeting with the team, because what I saw my doctor as like a superhero, and she assembled all of these guys. If you were there to see these ladies coming one by one to support me in my journey, I felt so proud. I felt so proud. I told them, I said, I've never had this much attention in my life. It was almost like I felt like I was just robbing somebody of the opportunity to get all of this attention. I felt extremely special. But anyway, I'm not taking it for granted. I'm not going to be sad. I'm not going to be depressed. I'm not going to be any of that. I got to work. I have to work. I got meditating to do. As a matter of fact, I didn't do my midday meditation yet, and I'm going to go inside and work to do my meditation. Then I have one later on tonight. But I am back, and I'm going to be posting videos to let you guys see, you know, what's going on my cancer journey. And like I said, I have cancer, but cancer doesn't have me. I'm kicking cancer's butt, and you all get to go along with me to see how I am going to do it. So anyway, today is Friday. I think the next video is gonna, I don't know if I want to post every Friday, but I'll figure it out and I will let you guys know. So if you have any questions, please leave them on the in the comment section. And thank you guys for watching. Thank you guys for staying and supporting me. And I'll be seeing you guys soon. Take care.